In southern Gaza, near Khan Younis, the battlefield ignited. Hamas fighters rose from tunnels once thought destroyed. Gunfire and grenades ripped through an Israeli encampment. Israel calls it a dangerous lapse. Hamas hails it as a triumph. This is the story of the raid, the firefight, and its aftermath. In southern Gaza, near Khan Younis, an Israeli military encampment faced an unusual and serious challenge. On August 20th, Hamas operatives managed to breach the perimeter of an army post that housed troops from the Kfir infantry brigade and the 74th Battalion of the 188th Armoured Brigade. The Israel Defense Forces later described the incident as a failure, acknowledging that the infiltration should never have occurred. According to the Army's initial probe, the militants surfaced from a tunnel just 40 to 50 metres away from the encampment. While the tunnel was partially destroyed in the past, Hamas appears to have reopened a new shaft using the same underground network. Once above ground, the attackers split into 3 groups. One positioned itself on a dirt mound to lay down suppressive fire. Another entered an unoccupied building inside the encampment. The third and most aggressive group stormed a building that housed Israeli soldiers. Inside, a platoon commander and another soldier were the first to detect movement. They stepped outside, came under fire, and retreated quickly to alert their unit. The soldiers then prepared defensive positions. 2 Hamas fighters managed to break into the building, throwing grenades and opening fire. An exchange lasting about 5 minutes followed, with 1 gunman killed inside and another eliminated outside. 3 Israeli soldiers were wounded during the clash, including 1 seriously, though his condition later improved. Tanks from the 74th Battalion engaged the attackers as well, shelling the empty building occupied by gunmen and killing at least 2 more. Another tank neutralized a militant attempting to fire an RPG by running him over, while others were targeted nearby. The fighting inside the post lasted no longer than 10 minutes, but it was intense. As militants attempted to withdraw, Israeli air support, drones and helicopters, pursued them. In total, around 15 Hamas operatives were killed in and around the encampment, with several others escaping back through the tunnel, as per the IDF. Despite the successful defense, the IDF conceded the militants had been well prepared. They carried assault rifles, grenades, RPGs and explosives, and they had brought along a stretcher, which Israeli officials believe was intended for kidnapping a wounded soldier. IDF admits Gaza breach exposed dangerous gaps. The Israel Defense Forces stressed that while troops had repelled the attack, the infiltration itself represented a lapse. Senior commanders described the episode as complex, one that exposed weaknesses despite the quick response on the ground. The army said an ambush had been placed in the area after reports of suspicious movement, but it did not succeed in preventing the gunmen from reaching the post. Major General Yaniv Assor, Chief of Israel's Southern Command, toured the site with senior officers the next day. The IDF said Assor praised the actions of the soldiers, crediting their initiative and determination with turning the tide inside the encampment.
Major General Yaniv Assor praised the troops' actions, while pointing out gaps that emerged, from which lessons must be learned and implemented quickly, in light of Hamas's attempts to harm our forces.
At the same time, he acknowledged shortcomings, as according to the military, Assor said the gaps exposed in this incident must be addressed quickly, given Hamas's ongoing efforts to target Israeli forces. The IDF emphasized that the bravery of troops, combined with armored and aerial support, prevented the incident from escalating further. Still, the acknowledgement of failure reflected an unusual degree of candor. In recent months, the army has sought to adapt to Hamas's persistent use of tunnels and infiltration tactics, but this episode highlighted that even known underground routes can remain a major challenge. Hamas's military wing, the Al-Qassam Brigades, claimed responsibility for the attack. In a statement, the group asserted that its fighters stormed the Israeli site, carried out a suicide bombing, and targeted tanks with explosives and RPGs. It further claimed that several soldiers were struck inside buildings at close range. The group also alleged that sniper fire fatally wounded a tank commander and that mortars were used to cover the withdrawal of its fighters.
A number of fighters stormed the houses and finished off a number of occupation soldiers inside from point-blank range with light weapons and hand grenades. Upon the arrival of the rescue force, one of the martyrs detonated himself among the soldiers, leaving them dead and wounded. We carried out sniper fire that fatally wounded the commander of a tank, and that it carried out mortar shelling in the area to secure the withdrawal of the fighter.
The claims didn't align with the Israeli account. The IDF reported no fatalities among its soldiers and said that Hamas's descriptions of casualties were exaggerated. Israeli officials also denied that any suicide bombing had occurred. The attempted infiltration was notable for its scale. While small attacks by militant cells have continued throughout the conflict, this operation involved a relatively large group of fighters attempting to directly assault an Israeli military post. Last month, a different Hamas unit had tried to target an Israeli logistics route in the same region. Despite extensive operations to destroy underground networks, Hamas has demonstrated resilience in reopening and adapting these passages. For Hamas, the attack represented an attempt to project continued capability against the Israeli military, even as it faces sustained operations in Gaza. As Israel prepares for expanded operations in Gaza City, the Khan Younis breach illustrates both the challenges of defending static positions and the determination of Hamas to test Israel's defenses. While the IDF claims to have succeeded in neutralizing the attackers, its admission that the breach was a failure ensures the incident will remain part of its internal assessments and a reminder of the continuing complexities of the war.